Coming up on By the Book, join host Dorothy Spalding and today's leading authors with in-depth interviews, stories, and discussions, offering unique insight into the authors, their influences, and their latest works. Tune in today as Dorothy welcomes Wanda Brunstetter. Be sure to watch By the Book.
It's great.
How did you do it?
By the book.
Where did you find that?
Did you see By the Book?
Yeah, it's a great show. By the book.
New releases and authors?
I thought it was a great read.
I think I'm going to buy the book.
It's the best.
Did you get it?
You should.
Do it by the book.
The best authors.
New releases.
Let's watch.
By the Book.
Welcome to By the Book. I'm your host, Dorothy Spalding. And with me today, I have a well-read author that does many of the Amish stories that you have seen and read, Wanda Brunstetter. And she has written so many great stories. You'll see them anywhere where you'll see these books. And Lydias Charm is your newest one.
That's correct.
Tell me about, first of all, about you. Give me a little story about you. Give me your testimony.
Well, my great-great-grandparents were part of the Anabaptist faith, and I married a man who was raised in the Mennonite church.
Like my father.
And so we both come from Christian backgrounds, and we've both served the Lord together for 47 years. I found the Lord at a very young age. I was 5, actually, when I first accepted Christ. So we've had a joyous time following him since, and I love to write about the Amish because they're so near and dear to my heart. We have a lot of Amish friends, and they're just very dear, dear, dear people.
And they allow you to write stories about them?
Well, I don't actually write their stories as truth. I do fiction, of course, so if I do their stories, I alter them greatly.
The names.
Oh, yes, definitely. But the Amish are reading my books, and that's what's really important.
I know I am from Shipshewana, Indiana, and I see your books all over the place there. And they have some little Amish stores there,
Yes,
and
they
I
do.
see them in the Amish stores. And so I knew immediately when I saw this name, I've got to interview this girl. Because you've done so many great books of the Amish. Now, what is Lydias Charm?
Well, Lydias Charm is set in the very small, quaint town of Charm, Ohio, and we have Amish friends who live there as well. So we've been there many times, and it's a unique town, and it's a fun town to go into. And Lydia is actually from Illinois, but she moves to Charm because she's widowed, she's out of a job, and she knows her mother needs her help caring for her aged grandfather. So she comes there not necessarily willingly, but more obediently. And she faces many challenges while she's there, and she meets 2 men. So it's a little bit of a love triangle involved.
A triangle, 2 of them, that's right.
And one of the men is a widower with 4 boys. And these boys desperately need a mother. And so she's very attracted to that fact. She would like to be their mother, I think. But the other man is single, and his parents are dwarfs. And so he's the only one in the family who is not born with dwarfism. And so he feels obligated to care for them. And so he's determined never to marry.
So it's kind of unique to pick, did they both fall in love with her?
Well,
You have to read the book. Here we go
you need to
again.
read the book to find out. But there is an attraction. They both, but for different reasons, they're both fighting that attraction.
And are we going to talk any more about this book?
Well, I don't want to give away the ending, of course, but in this book, I deal a lot with prejudice because, even though the Amish try not to be prejudiced, there are some who are for different reasons. And in this case, it was Lydia's mother who was actually prejudiced against the little people. And she had a deep-seated reason for her prejudice, which I think most of us do. If we're prejudiced, it isn't just an automatic thing. We're not just born being prejudiced. We're taught, or we have some experience in our life that causes this. And this is what happened to Lydia's mother. And so I deal with that, and I deal with forgiveness, of course, and I deal with learning to, like in Levi's case, whose parents were the dwarfs, he felt that he had to be there for them, for everything. He kind of smothered them, actually. And I think we have to learn where the line is as to what is our obligation toward our parents. And Levi needed to learn that he could have a life of his own.
Yeah, and that's important, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
That we learn that. There's life lessons in here, isn't there,
Yes,
through this
definitely.
whole book?
Definitely. For
And-
all the main characters had a lesson to learn.
And that's why she writes such good Amish books. But let's talk a little bit about the Amish. Why are you so attracted? I know you have many friends that are
Right,
Amish,
right.
but why are you attracted to them?
I think part of it is because of my Anabaptist heritage that I never really got to know, of course, my great-great-grandparents. But I think in getting to know the Amish and spending time with them, we've spent many hours with our Amish friends, realizing that their first priority is to God and family in that order. And I think so many of us have gotten so far away from that. And you know, a lot of us are separated from our family by miles. And I think we forget sometimes how important our family is and how important it is to be there for each other, and not just our family, but our friends and our neighbors. And I think we've become kind of a country of self. Everybody's doing their own thing so much we don't even see sometimes what other people's needs are. And the Amish are there for people who need them, even if they don't know them. You know, if you were driving down the road and your car got stuck, they'd stop and help you. You know, that's how they are. And when I'm with our Amish family, I call them our family because they become like family to us, I feel like a different person. Truly, I feel a sense of peace and just a sense of oneness. You know, you don't think about TV and computers and cell phones when you're with the Amish. You don't need it.
No.
You have that
It's
friendship.
a different lifestyle.
It definitely is.
They become family. They have big tables in their dining rooms and their
Definitely,
kitchens.
yes.
I mean, we were in an Amish home. They must be able to set 20 people at a table. That's what they do.
That's what they do, and they feed you well.
Very well.
Definitely.
And it's just some of the best cooking you'll ever have.
Oh, yeah.
Is in the Amish home. And then just the fact of how they are family is so awesome. Tell me, when you visit your friends, you drive up in a car. Have you ever ridden in their buggies?
Oh, many times. Yes, we went to church. We went to Amish church last summer in our Amish friend's buggy, and it was so cute because I was riding in the back with Sarah. My husband rode up front with Jake. And Jake was following a buggy just a little bit too close, and Sarah was tapping him on the shoulder, and she said, Jake, do you have to follow that buggy so close? And I just laughed because I thought, you know, the Amish wives backseat drive too, you know. And the Amish men follow too close. But, you know, they're just so much like us in many ways. It's just we have to get past the fact that they're a curiosity, because they're really not. They're really like us in their hearts.
I like the fact of the little kids, how they're dressed. They're so brightly colored clothes. How they get together and they make the quilts. And you see their clothes. Well, their quilts are brightly colored too, aren't they?
Yes.
And that's one of the fun things they do in the winter times is they put out a quilt. And everybody comes and they work on their quilt together.
They have their quilting bees.
And then also they work together on their farms.
Definitely.
If a barn burns down, they all get together and they raise a barn in 3 days?
Sometimes less than that. Depending on how big the crew is, they can sometimes get the basic barn up in one day.
And they still saw their own wood from trees? Cut down some trees, slice the wood, or do they buy their wood now?
Well, a little of both, actually. You know, in some ways, the Amish have come into the 21st century, although some of them do run their own lumber mills. So, you know, I mean, you